Hello, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and of course, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper, New Hampshire State Legislator.
Matt!
What's up,
Fancy
Gary?
meeting you here.
Well, it is. It's a very fancy studio, actually.
It
compared
is
to what we
actually
used to be.
fancy. It's like
So-
wicked bright lights. I feel like I should confess something.
Oh my! Oh, actually, that might be good television. What would you like to confess?
Well, when I abducted the Lindbergh child originally, it wasn't. I didn't mean to do nothing bad.
Right.
But I'm not going to talk about that.
I know you meant well.
Yeah. What did we do today?
Oh yeah, you were in session for.
Yeah, hours. See, it's funny because we go into session and it was supposed to be a short day. It started at 1. We had committee hearings before that. It was supposed to start at 1. And we only had a few bills, so I was hoping to get out early enough to go help my wife with something. And no, you get a bunch of politicians in the room, and it has to take at least a few hours, no matter what it is. They could be deciding what color to paint the bathroom, and it would take quite a few hours just so people can talk about it. It's pretty amazing.
I'm sure your wife understood. Did she understand? You can be honest. I mean, she doesn't watch the show, right?
Yeah, she doesn't understand why she doesn't watch the show. You mean? But anyway,
That too.
yes. So, what happened this week that's new and exciting? Oh, this is kind of weird. There was a bill in the committee, on the Judiciary Committee, this bill today to allow judges to sit as judges after the age of 70. So they have what they want to do is get some of these judges that have a lot of experience with certain cases and things like that to be able to come back on the court and sit as a judge.
Oh, so right now there's a mandatory retirement?
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's not mandatory. It's constitutionally mandatory.
Okay.
So I made the motion to kill it because it's unconstitutional. The Constitution says no judge and or sheriff, a sheriff has to retire too, can be in that position after the age of 70.
Huh.
Period. And the judiciary, the court people say that, well, it's not, you shouldn't read it that way. And you could actually, if you go to, well, it's probably kind of hard for you to get there too quickly, but it specifically says no judge shall sit after the age of 70. So I don't know what other way they read that they can justify it, but
Yeah.
it was simple unconstitutional. What else do we have? We had a bill in committee this week to look into is it called infanticide when it's older? What do they call it when old people want to end their own lives?
Oh, euthanasia.
Euthanasia?
Yeah.
There's a lot of euthanasia, isn't there?
Well, especially
yeah.
China, the population
China's
is huge.
wicked big,
Yes,
huge.
yes.
Yeah.
That's in Asia, right?
Yes,
I'm not good
exactly.
at
Yeah, that's true. Asia,
Yeah.
India.
Right.
But,
Right. Yes.
But anyway, so that they've tried to get that through the New Hampshire legislature quite a few times.
I thought there was another word for it, though. When it's assisted.
Yeah.
Oh, assisted suicide.
Yeah, but I
Physician
think there's still a
assisted
name
suicide?
for it. It's still infanticide. And what's infanticide then?
That's killing a child, killing
Oh.
an infant.
Okay. So it's, yeah. Anyway, they've never been able to get that through the New Hampshire legislature, so this time they want to do a study committee. And the reason they tend to do that is strategically, if they come back and the study committee says, well, for New Hampshire it would be best to do it this way, then they can say, oh, look, the study committee made up of A, B, C, and D came back and recommended this. That's what they're trying to get at. But I think that was killed in committee, or it's going to be killed in committee. I don't know which. There was a bill in committee that we killed this week that would have required Facebook to relinquish your information to your estate in the event of your passing.
Really?
Right. The reason was because it was a young girl, I forget where it was, I think it was California, that passed away, and she committed suicide. And this is how absolutely sick people are. They actually tormented this girl on Facebook after her death. They're still attacking the poor kid who killed herself probably because she was being bullied and humiliated.
Right. Yeah.
And but anyway, so that bill's gonna die just because it's not something that's really within the purview of the state of New Hampshire to tell Zuckerberg that to change his policy. Because if you sign up for Facebook, There's a policy.
Right, yeah, privacy policy and all that.
So being the wiseacre I am, though, I said to during the hearing, I said that I said that I know. 'Cause right now, my grandkids are on Facebook, but we know what their passwords are. So if somebody was like a friend was harassing her, we could just delete the friend without them having any say in it.
Right.
I
We should have a call
I
already.
guess.
Should we grab that?
Sure.
Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Roland, I watched some of the hearings in Concord,
Yeah.
and I want to say that I think it was so. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think it's so ridiculous that if you agree, press the green button, and if you don't agree, press the red button. It's just like you're in kindergarten. I think I mean, if you're a legislator, don't you know that if it's a yes vote, it's green. If it's not not a vote for to do it, you press red. But to be told to press green and then to be told to press red, I think is ridiculous. I mean, for grown-up men. Anyway, that's my comment.
Yeah, but there's women there too.
By the way,
That was pretty good.
that was
That
good.
was awesome.
Little Mel's asking, are you talking about Phoebe Prince? Is that the girl you're talking about?
I don't know. If she probably knows better than me.
Yeah.
But so anyway, we I'll get rolling. I'll answer your question in a second. But so anyway, the problem was it's so unwieldy. So because it talks about social media, and so which social media? I mean, if you play an online game, that's kind of like social media. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had said that if I was, I was thinking about my grandchildren. I had said that parents are responsible for getting their kids' passwords if they allow the kids on that kind of thing. And then I realized, after I had said that, I realized that I was full of garbage because as a teenager, you're going to find a way around it.
Right.
So I restated the question. I says, isn't it true that I says I can speak for myself. That if I was a teenager, I would absolutely give my parents my password of the account they know about.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, I want to introduce, before we go on, I want to introduce our guest, because Carolyn
Pellerin?
and Diane McCormick, it's three names, Diane
Coventry McCormick.
Coventry McCormick.
You got the whole hyphen thing going.
No, it's not hyphened.
Yeah,
It
it's
is hyphenated?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
okay.
why it's hyphenated? I didn't want it hyphenated.
No.
After I got married, I went to the Social Security office to. I didn't want to drop Coventry,
Yeah.
but in order to, I just wanted to add McCormick as my last name.
Right.
But I was told that you can only drop Coventry and put McCormick in place, or hyphenate it. I said, well, I don't want the hassle of
No kidding.
hyphenating. And they said, well, I said, why can't I just add that? Well, basically, you're changing your middle name according to the
Right.
rules, I guess.
Huh.
But in
wrong
order
with
to
that?
in order to keep all four, first, middle, and two last names, I have to
Oh,
go
oh.
to court. Have to take a day off from work. I have to sit in front of a judge and say, yes, this is what I really want to do.
Yeah.
I want to
And-
add a fifth name to mine.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said
Very-
it's
what?
a lot. It's I just don't want the hyphen there. I just want the last
I don't
name.
blame you.
I just think you could fix that for me, Kenny.
Yeah, Gary, you should introduce some legislation.
Yes. Yes,
Making
I
it
should.
more simple
that
for
simple.
people to just add the
More
last
simpler.
name. More simpler.
Simpler. These fine ladies from CareNet, which is right over on Bridge Street, on 50 Bridge Street.
Right.
Anyway, before I got to answer Roland's question, because it does sound kind of stupid, because what happens is in the if you're watching it on TV, somebody will get up and it'll be a roll call vote, typically is what he's referring to. If it's a voice vote, you just say yay or nay, okay? If it's a roll call vote, or a division vote, you press the button, red or green, for yes or no.
Oh.
And what happens in New Hampshire, if you look at roll call votes in New Hampshire, you're not voting for or against the legislation. You are voting in agreement or disagreement with the committee recommendation.
Oh, you're agreeing or not agreeing?
You're agreeing, so in other words, today on the judges being over the age of 70, the committee report is inexpedient to legislate. So if it goes to the floor of the House and that's the prevailing motion when it comes to a vote, you'll press the green button to say, yes, I agree that should be killed, or red because you disagree with that. But anyway, what happens is you got derelicts like myself who are out having coffee. Because if you look at the calendar, you know what's coming up, okay?
Right.
You know that there's going to be about an hour and a half of just bull. People are going to be going back, and you already know exactly how you're going to vote. Okay, like on Right to Work last year, I knew how I was going to vote. Or a pro-life bill, I know how I'm going to vote. I don't want to sit there for 45 minutes or an hour with people getting up with all this emotional, garbagey testimony, because I already know the subject. I already know how I'm going to vote, so I'll go down and have coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, somebody will call roll call. So you have to run back to your seat because you don't want to miss a roll call vote. Pardon me. And what happens is you get there and you go, okay, are we voting on this, or are we voting a motion to table, or has there been an intervening motion that you don't know about? And so what happens is, to try to clarify, to make sure everybody's on the same page, is somebody will get up and make a parliamentary inquiry, which should be a parliamentary inquiry would be something like, is a motion to table this piece of legislation in order, Madam Speaker. That's what a parliamentary inquiry, you're asking about the parliamentary procedure. But what it turns out is it's a heads up. So if you, like myself on the judges over 70, I would get up, because people just coming into the room might not know exactly what we're voting on. I would get up and say, Madam Speaker, if you know as I do that the Constitution says that nobody shall serve as judge and or sheriff after the age of 70, and Madam Speaker, if you know as I do that to pass House Bill whatever it is would be clearly unconstitutional, then Madam Speaker, would you, as I will, press the green button in agreement with the committee? Okay, so what that does, you're not really debating as much as you're making sure everybody's on the same page, that they know that they're voting the red button on an expedient to legislate on House Bill so and so. So that's what the caller was talking about. 'Cause it looks stupid, okay, but it's for the people who are and not everybody's down getting coffee. Some people are trying to negotiate who's going to speak on this bill or that bill. Like, in other words, if we let's use the same piece of legislation, my chairman might come over to me and talk out back, because you got to go out back if you want to talk, and say, are you going to speak on this because they've got an extra speaker? We need an extra speaker. Do you know anybody that would be good? And this and that. So you're negotiating floor fights for maybe later on in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And so somebody calls roll call. You get back to your seat and you're, okay, what are we doing?
Right.
What's going on, man? I was out smoking bones. I don't know what's going on.
So the coffee thing, that's code for something else.
Code. It's code.
Code, yes. Right.
Anyway.
I don't know, are the red and green buttons, do they have R for red and G for green? Because what if you're colorblind?
I was just going to ask that. What about the colorblind person?
Yeah.
I don't care. But I did wonder today, because I was like this, because at the end of the day, you have to press your button for mileage to prove that you were there. At the end of the day, it's like a roll call vote. I kept doing this. I said, if I break my finger, do I get workman's compensation? Right?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I would get paid for going to Concord even when I didn't have to go because my finger was all broken.
But then again, they might give you workman's comp, but then turn around and charge you for the repair of what you just broke.
And
So
you
it
have
might be
nine
a
of
You got to be
wash.
politically correct. It's workers' compensation.
Workers.
Yes, good call.
This is
that
a
is-
political show, right?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. That was almost as offensive as some of the other stuff I say. I would think. Oh, so I get. So I told Representative Souza. Remember, we had Kathy Souza on before
Yes.
the election last year, and Kathy Souza was down in Nantucket with her husband because her kids moved in while they were trying to arrange a house, and so she wasn't able to campaign at all.
Yeah.
Remember?
I do, yeah.
So the only appearance she had to actually campaign was on this show,
Wow.
and she got elected.
Well, she got the bump. The rock,
Got the
paper,
bump,
hand
the
grenades
rock,
bump.
paper, hand grenades bump.
Yes.
Anyway, so I told Kathy yesterday, I think, or today, that you guys are going to be on the show, and she wanted to make sure that you each had a copy of this.
Oh.
I don't know if you're even aware of it.
Is it a letter expressing her gratitude to us for having her on the show?
No.
She wants everyone to know.
She should have that.
Yes.
We should have something from her.
Yes, we knew about this.
A
It's
notarized
awesome.
You did know about
Yeah,
that?
we did know about it.
Okay, you want
It's
to tell them
great.
what it is? Because I can't read it that easily.
It was just a resolution that commended pregnancy centers for the work that we do.
Okay, so you did know. You got a copy at the
I want to keep a
CareNet?
copy.
Yeah, I want to keep a copy. That'd be great.
That'll be $5 each. No?
Put it on my bill.
Put it on your bill.
Put it on my bill.
I'll put it on your
go.
tab. Okay.
We'll give you an invoice.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're here to talk. That's enough politics. So we're here to talk about CareNet, and I wanted you on because, first of all, at our church they have those, because a lot of people see them. They're those little baby bottles. I don't know if you've seen them around town. They're like little baby bottles with a hole in it for putting in.
I have one.
You have one? Can you show us?
It's over there. Can I get it?
Yeah. So anyway, at church they gave out. They give pretty much everybody one of those baby bottles, and what you do is you put your loose change in it, and then it goes to CareNet, because CareNet is, like I said, is right over 50 Bridge Street, right at the corner, almost at the corner of 50 and Bridge and Elm.
Change goes a long way.
We usually average about $15 a bottle if it's loose change.
Really?
This
Some-
this is change you can believe in.
Ah, yes.
Get it?
Oh, I see.
Change
I
you
see
can
what you
believe
did
in.
there, Gary. I see what you did
Yes.
there. Yes.
Sorry, I'm not wrapped too tight. Go ahead.
It's one of the three major fundraisers that CareNet hosts every year to raise money because we don't get government funding. And so this is the first one that we start in January, although a lot of churches and organizations or individuals will do it throughout the year. You don't have to do it in January. What I love about this particular fundraiser, though, is that the whole family can get involved. Even little kids can put loose change in, a portion of their allowance or something they find on the street, and know that they're literally helping to save lives.
Right.
So
Now, what? Before we get to us, make sure we don't run out of time. I always run out of time because I'm not wicked
You talk
organized.
too much.
Right.
I'd like you each to introduce yourselves and give me an idea of how you got involved in this, because it's not something most people look as a career move.
okay. Well, I'm Carolyn Pellerin, and I actually was introduced to CareNet unexpectedly. I went to help with another one of their fundraisers, which is their Walk for Life, which happens in May. And I went as a volunteer just to run the registration table, and left knowing that someday I would have to work there. 8 months later, I called the director, our current director, Rhonda Butt, executive director, and told her that I wanted to get involved. And so I started out, I went through an extensive training program that's required in order to work there, even as a volunteer, because of the sensitivity
Yep.
of the clients and everything that we deal with. And I worked for 3 years as a volunteer crisis pregnancy peer counselor. And then I was hired 3 years ago as the client services coordinator.
Okay.
Excellent.
I'm Diane Coventry McCormick.
With a
And
hyphen.
With a hyphen that I don't want.
Reluctant hyphen.
A reluctant hyphen, right? Well, my introduction to CareNet was through, I actually participated in the post-abortive stress, the Mended Hearts program.
Yep.
And in participating in that.
Wait. What is meant? Do you think we should take a call or let her finish?
Oh, we should probably let her finish.
Okay. What's the Amended Hearts program?
The Mended Hearts is the part of the organization that I now facilitate. We have groups of women who have even an ounce of remorse or regret on choosing abortion sometime in their life. Could have been recent or many years ago.
Right.
For me, it was 29 years of living in that denial and remorse and dealing with abortive stress syndrome, which mirrors post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Right.
They're all very real symptoms.
Yep.
So the Mended Hearts program, we work through our loss and we come out feeling forgiven and set free. And that's really the name of the book that we go through. And so from that, I decided to go through all the training. And I'd spent a year and a half working with the peer counseling with the crisis pregnancy, people in crisis pregnancy or first-time pregnant. And then moved into the Mended Hearts program, which is really where I want to reach out to women that want to find healing and, to release themselves from their anger and their remorse.
Okay. So that's how you get started. Now, what is the? We should do this at least a couple times. What is the phone number they can? If a young woman, or actually, you have programs for men too.
Yes, we do.
We do.
So, what's the
Fatherhood.
phone number? If somebody's listening right now, that they can call
623-1122.
1122. Okay.
That's area code 603, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's a website too, I assume?
Yes.
Yes.
Info Manchester.
You want your notes?
Info Manchester.
Is it Info Manchester at CareNet?
NH.org.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
You want to type
that's
that
all
in?
right. All right, so
Info
we'll
Manchester.
make sure. Well, so the website itself is carenetnh.org, we think. Let me see what comes up here. Okay,
Yes,
yep, there
yes.
it is. Yep,
Yeah.
okay, very good.
Yeah, we can probably put that on the screen.
623.
Is it possible to put that on the screen for a couple seconds?
Yeah, split screen.
then we
You
can
guys are
throw it back-
talented.
And should we take this call? Oh, there
Sure.
it is. Yep.
Yeah, I'll take call. It's a good time to take call.
You
okay.
can split screen that.
Hi, welcome to Rock Paper Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Hello?
Hello.
How you doing?
We live?
We sure are.
All right. Well, I just I'm calling to say good evening to all you rock stars, and I just want to let you know you know what it's all about. It's all about change and hope. It is the president. All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Okay.
Change. We were talking about change actually before he called. That's probably
Well,
why.
I enjoyed his call. I learned a lot from it.
I did too.
Yes.
Change,
Yes.
the change
hope.
that we can hope for is educating people
and you can hope for a
and
lot of
change
change
your minds and change.
because you guys are nonprofit and you guys need change to actually stay in business to help young ladies and young men through their crises.
That's right.
You know, we offer an array of services, and it starts at the crisis place sometimes, but not all the time. Sometimes a teenager or a young adult who might be living in the worst of circumstances, totally broken, and then she finds out she's pregnant, and she doesn't know what to do. And so when she comes to us, we're able to share with her all of her options.
Right.
We give accurate, up-to-date information on, risk, the procedures with abortion, what parenting would do. We offer referrals for adoption. A lot of our clients, especially teenagers, don't understand that adoption isn't what it used to be, where the mothers had their babies and they were whisked away and, that was it. We were able to explain to them that there's open adoptions and closed adoptions.
So you mean they don't all go to Arab sheiks anymore?
No, they don't.
Huh.
No. And that when they
almost happened to me.
realize
I'm not gonna say it.
when they realize that they can actually have a say in who actually is going to raise their child and that they can play a role in their child's life forever if they want to.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's not
Adoption
like
has
the
come
old
a long
days
way.
where there was that separation and that's it. You never get to know who your parents are. And
Right.
Correct.
Because I know a lot of kids that are still upset. I've met people that are in their 50s or 60s that are still upset that they don't know who their parents are.
Right.
Well, there's websites too that
I
parents.
mean, I have doubts on who my father is, but what?
Nothing. I'm sorry to hear that, Gary.
Yeah. So anyway,
That seems to be a trend in the
Maybe he's just
political
denying
world,
you.
isn't it?
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm kind of weird.
So, and the same is true with parenting. If they decide that they want to parent, we have parenting curriculums, and we're really excited you mentioned dad programs. We just incorporated a father's curriculum that is phenomenal, and we
Now,
want
what's that for?
it's for dads so they understand what their role is, because
How to be healthy dads.
right, because a lot of our clients don't have role models before them. They've never had a father
Right.
or a mother, and so now we're asking them to play this role, or they want to take on this role, but they don't know how to do it. And so we've sort of in the past have always focused on our female clients, and because so many of their partners or husbands really want to play an active role, we decided we need to do something about it. So we now have this curriculum, and it's been this year that we've introduced it, and we have 6 or 7 men going through it. Another one happening next week. So
That's
it's pretty
pretty cool.
awesome. Yeah.
That's very cool because if you look into crimes in the inner city, Chicago, Washington, D.C., you'll find there's an absolute correlation between fatherlessness and crime. If you want to go in, if you wanted to move a place and that was secure, the one variable that you could look into to find out if it's secure is the number of intact families.
Right.
Because little girls need that affection from dad, and little boys need to get slapped upside the head once in a while, and they really do. The best example of that I in the research that I've done was in Africa. They had a reserve where they were trying to introduce elephants, and to try to save money and time, they introduced young elephants. I don't know, a year old or whatever, very, very small elephants, so they could transport them easily, and they took care of them until they were on their own. And the male elephants, when they became teenagers or equivalent, were killing the white rhinos just for fun. They would just go around and torture, torment, and kill rhinos for for a good time. And they didn't know what to do. They had to put a few of them down because they were going to lose their rhinos if they didn't do something. And what they ended up doing to resolve the issue is they brought in mature bull elephants. And once they did that, the teenagers just chilled right out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and that's what's going on in our inner city. So a program like that instills the necessity for that male in that child's life is really, really important.
And
Because society, especially in the last 30 years, has focused almost entirely on the women
right.
and their responsibility, and almost nothing on the
The responsibility of the father.
Correct.
And the roles are very different, and sometimes the mothers don't understand that. That
They put it all on themselves.
they do. And I mean, I'm guilty of that. I think, I was a stay-at-home mom while my kids were little, and they're 18 and 21 now, but I just remember I just felt like I managed everything all the time. And so, when dad steps into the picture, it's almost like it's an inconvenience sometimes, or you're upsetting the apple cart. We have a certain system.
We have a process,
Right.
and you're not in it.
But I wish I had gone through some of these curriculums when I was a young mom. It would have really helped. It's trial and error for all of us because, there's no, parenting dummies
But we
101.
learn from the past generations, and I
Right.
think our society, the family entity has dispersed in our society today. That you don't have that role model. You don't have grandma always there. You don't have the structure that we once had. Pretty much our teenagers are out there flailing on their own.
Right, you don't have grandfathers around telling the grandkids to shut up, and
It's not the Waltons anymore.
no, it isn't, and that's I think one of the huge issues going on in society. So that's really, really cool.
So
that
the
you're doing
programs that we offer they earn their mommy bucks. They watch videos that prompts questions. They have different little curriculums that we work through them, and it does bring up questions in their mind. And
that. Right.
as peers, we can help them with them.
Another new curriculum that we're offering that we started last year that we're also getting a lot of positive feedback from because we have a survey that we have our clients fill out. It's a healthy relationship course. because even some of our clients who are in relationships say, go ahead and go through it. And it's a course that helps them understand who they are, what their personality type is, and they can take these activities that we do during our lessons, bring them home to their boyfriends, and
Right.
so they can figure out who they are, so that they can have better communication. I'm amazed at some of the responses that we get from the simplest of activities. They're just, really? I never knew this. Or, what do you expect from your partner? And sometimes girls, if they're broken, anything is okay. Anybody is okay. And we're hoping to sort of build them up and let them know that they're worth more than maybe what they're settling for sometimes.
Right.
And in fact, this was really cool, but I had one of my clients, after she went through the course, a couple months later, she called me and she sort of sounded a little panicked. And I said, what's going on? And she said, I started dating somebody and I just want to make sure I do it right. Can I come in and talk to you? It was really awesome. So, yeah.
That's great. CareNet is impacting young adults.
Right.
So the fundraisers that we do all year long really are vital to keeping this organization going and so that we can reach out and help people, because the happy endings, the callbacks with excitement, the bonding, the relationships you build, that these clients walk away with, will stay with them.
I also want to talk about the medical services that we offer. All of our services are free. About 7 years ago, we brought in a nurse manager, and so we do limited obstetrical ultrasounds, which are ultrasounds that we do between 8 and 12 weeks of pregnancy. Those normally don't happen with your obstetricians. They usually do the ultrasounds later on in the pregnancy, between 16 and 20 weeks. But
Now, as somebody, can I go in there to find out if there's an alien in my stomach?
you could, but chances are you're going to find out you're wrong. Well, you couldn't. You're going to find out there's nothing in there.
How well do you know Gary? Because some of us have our suspicions.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe that would explain the split personality thing going on.
Well, it
That
could.
it wasn't a split personality as much as there's aliens in there.
Right, yeah. Well, that's almost
I
as
mean, they're not
logical.
aliens like the gross one in the movie.
No,
I'm
no.
talking like little fuzzy one or something like.
Yeah,
A
You know, like
cute one.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
Before they were Gremlins.
right.
The little
You don't eat after midnight, do you?
Sometimes. Yeah.
That might be the problem then. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I digressed it a little bit.
So we offer ultrasounds, and that's really an important piece of it, especially when somebody comes in a crisis, because when a client needs to make a really difficult decision, do I want to get an abortion? Do I want to consider adoption, or do I want to parent this child? Offering an ultrasound early on, I believe it's 23% of pregnancies result in miscarriage. So we're able to go in early and be able to discern whether or not there's a beating, there's a heartbeat, and that everything's okay at that point in time.
Right.
Because if it's a non-viable pregnancy, the stress of having to make that decision is gone. She doesn't have to anymore.
Right.
Then we can talk to her about a healthy relationship so she doesn't end up in the same situation again.
Right.
So that's really an important piece. So we have a nurse manager who does pregnancy tests and the ultrasounds, and then we have a medical director who oversees the medical piece.
That's all for free, though.
Yeah.
All for
Wow.
free.
Yep.
We rely on our 3 major fundraisers and
Now, the
community
three major
donations.
fundraisers are the bottles, the walkathon. What was the third
And
one?
we have a dinner banquet in October.
Good food.
Good food is free.
Good food.
Lasagna?
You know
Gary
what?
likes lasagna.
I'll buy a table
It's usually
this October,
chicken.
and you
Chicken.
go and bring
But it's
some
pretty
friends.
good chicken.
Actually, we should do that at church. We should do that. Okay.
You can have lasagna at church?
No.
No, chicken.
Sponsor
Chicken.
a table. Sponsor a table.
Sponsor
Oh,
a table.
sorry.
She's going to
Of
sponsor
8.
a table.
Oh.
Sponsor a table of 8, and you invite your guests, and they go to the banquet, and
Oh.
Do they have the raffles and stuff like that?
they have
Some
all
the-
kinds of.
They have all kinds
they have
of cool
speakers,
stuff.
and it's
Speakers.
and good food.
We don't usually have raffles, but we definitely have awesome speakers.
Right.
Every year gets
I didn't
better
mean
and
to agree
better.
with you.
This-
Well, considering your resources, you could auction off a baby.
Ooh. Good thinking outside
Your
the box,
alien
Gary.
baby.
That's-
Yeah. Gary.
Alien baby.
Yes.
the alien baby that you
With the
have.
fuzzy one.
Well, you're going to have to cough that up then. You know,
Just
you're gonna
actually,
have
they
to-
just kind of work their way out.
Oh, I gotcha.
But-
Well, that must be horrifying.
yeah, it is.
Good
But we
luck.
also have material needs as well. We know that a
Yeah.
lot of our clients don't have a lot of money. Some of them are homeless, some of them are drug addicted, some of them are coming out of rehab. I mean, the worst of circumstances, we've seen it, and we're able to offer them beautiful clothing and material items for their babies and
Now,
for
are
themselves.
those do you buy those, or are those donated to
Those
you?
are donated.
Those are donated. We have 2 rooms. One is brand new, where the tags are still on all our clothes, and those are, you can use the mommy bucks. That's when you participate in our parenting program.
Right,
Diane
right. So,
touched on
so
that.
they earn the
Pretend money.
the mommy bucks so that they can actually get the stuff that's
By participating
Correct.
in the classes, or by participating in the different curriculums, that they earn their mommy bucks that they could spend.
Now, some
Okay.
of our clients, we usually offer these programs to first-time moms or dads, but sometimes we make exceptions. But if they don't qualify for it, let's say they have 3 or 4 kids and they've already been through one of our programs, then they automatically, when they come in as a pregnant person or someone they expect to be pregnant, and we give them a pregnancy test and it's positive, they automatically get 3 clothing visits with us, regardless of how many other children they have.
Right.
So they get maternity clothes. When they're 7 months pregnant, they can get clothes for their baby, and then once their baby's 3 to 6 months old, they can come back and shop again. So that's for every client, even if
And
they
that's
don't
all
go through the program.
donated items. Those are the used items that are donated. And
Okay.
there's many areas too that if people are interested in volunteering, you can volunteer by help manning those rooms, keeping them neat and folded clothes and washing the clothes, or getting out there and getting the donations and bringing them in, and
Right.
and then there's the peer counselors, and then there's the Mended Hearts peer counselors.
Okay.
We have someone right now, her name is Sherry, who has been a volunteer for our baby boutiques and our maternity boutique, and she does a phenomenal job. It's like we have clients that come in and say they'd rather shop with us than go to the mall. She does a really phenomenal job, so I'm giving her a little
She's
plug.
awesome. She's awesome. She's fun too.
Thanks, Sherry.
Baby boutiques. That's so cute.
Yeah, our baby boutiques.
Yeah, my granddaughter just turned 1, but when she did the ultrasound, I don't know where my daughter had the ultrasound on. It might have been actually a CareNet, but she asked me to scan it and put it on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So I added a deck of cards to her, like a royal flush in her hand, and a cigar, and a pistol in the other hand.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I like I said, I'm this stuff goes on up there. I don't actually get it.
In your head, in your stomach, you got all kinds of things.
So I get issues.
Yes.
I get issues.
We all have issues.
Yes.
But CareNet tries to help out with pregnant people's issues, or at least, and I think it's really important to note that we don't judge our clients. Wherever they're at is where we meet them. And the extensive training program that each peer counselor or client advocate goes through, there's a lot of role playing. Some people understand, some of our volunteers understand that they can't really do the crisis counseling because they're not equipped to do it. That you have to be able to really meet each client and not pass judgment on them, but just love on them, because our first purpose is her. It's the client. And then we want to help her through her pregnancy, with whatever decision she makes.
Right.
We don't refer for abortions or provide abortions at CareNet, but if somebody chooses that, we're there for them afterwards.
Right,
To
in other
go
wor-
through the Mended Hearts or just to listen to them.
And for men, it's healing a father's heart.
Right. Well, that was one of the things Kathy Souza said, because she goes down and protests out in front of Planned Parenthood all the time. And there was a young girl going into Planned Parenthood, and Kathy and her friend said, you really should go over to CareNet first, so you understand what your options are, because Planned Parenthood's not going to give you options. And so the girl said, okay. I think it might have been a girl and a boyfriend. Kathy's listening.
okay.
She called.
Yeah.
See if I got my facts wrong. But anyway, so they said, okay. And then they went back to Bridge Street, because it's not that far apart.
Correct.
And then they couldn't find 50 Bridge Street, because it's in
Oh,
that building on the 3rd floor.
The Gerber building.
The Gerber building. And so they came back, and Kathy says, wait a second. And they called CareNet, and CareNet sent somebody outside to wave them in as they
That
went
was
by.
me.
That was
Oh, no.
That was me. Thank you,
Small world.
Kathy. I stood outside, yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. That's wicked awesome. going the extra mile, so to speak.
Well,
I mean, it
we
wasn't
wa-
really a mile, legitimately.
Well, we'd have to measure it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's closer.
Maybe
Well,
survey.
Well, I don't know. You got to
Right.
add mileage when you're talking stairs.
They're
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
steep stairs.
Yeah, okay,
And the
good
elevator's
point.
pretty slow. But, our mission is really to empower women to make an educated decision. And that, regardless of what their decision is, we're not there to coerce them or talk them into anything. We're there to give them facts so
Well,
that
the
they
thing-
can make the right decision
Well, that's
for them.
just it. If they go and had gotten an abortion and not gone to CareNet, and then found out maybe on the next time through they go to CareNet, there's all this information that they would have gotten before.
Right.
That, you know what I mean? It's like it would just be extra regret.
That
Just-
scenario has happened actually several times, and we've had men break down because they've had old girlfriends that had experienced, had been touched by an abortion, and they didn't really know anything about it, and then maybe they were looking at a picture with ultrasound pictures or something at the same age as when their girlfriend had the abortion, and they've broken down like they didn't know.
No,
And
most
so
people don't.
it's really about knowing, what
Educating.
stage, what the risks are, and if they have that information and they still choose it, that's their choice. But at least it's an informed decision.
I don't think that in other facilities that provide abortions truly express the risks involved. And I don't believe that they even discuss the aftermath.
Well, there's just a conflict to begin with. They're making money off of providing services for abortion. You're really not even making money, so you guys aren't really much capitalists anyway, I'll tell you that. You really stink at that. But anyway, you're not, there is no financial motivation for
what we
you
do.
Right.
to head them in one direction or another.
Well, but I want to say that I believe that, I can't speak for anybody at any of these other agencies that you're talking about, but I'd like to believe that I think that most of the workers there believe they're doing what is in the best interest of women.
They do call it a health service to women.
I
Right.
really think that they're trying to do that. Maybe our way of doing it is different and we believe in our way, but I would never say anything negative about, the other agencies because I don't know their heart. I only know the heart of the people that work at CareNet.
Right.
Well said.
Yeah. So she should be a politician. She's better than me.
Oh, well, maybe you can
Not-
talk her.
not that that's
maybe you
saying
can talk
much.
her into running. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we already know you're politically incorrect, so if I'm politically correct, then we're okay.
It's
You
like a
balance each other.
Yeah, balance,
Yeah,
right.
It's a good balance.
There's synergy.
Hannity and Combs
synergy,
all
yes.
over.
Right, exactly.
There was no balance with Hannity and Combs.
Well, you don't think so? Why?
Hannity handpicked Combs to be his co-host on that show.
So?
Just saying.
Collins was pretty brutal when he wanted to be against Republicans.
In Al Franken's first book, he always spells Combs in a lower font than everything
Oh, no
else.
way. That's
yeah.
too funny. That's too funny. No, no, I'm not going to get off on that too far. But, so anyway, you've touched on the program for men. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have a program for girls coming in, and the program for girls that have gone through an
Men
abortion.
and women that have already had abortions.
Yeah. What other services? You got clothes.
And peer counseling, sometimes.
What's peer counseling mean?
Peer counseling will just, maybe somebody doesn't necessarily want to go through one of the curriculums that we offer, but they're going through major stress or a crisis, another kind of crisis in their life, and so we're there to listen to them. And it's amazing. I've even done some phone counseling, and it's amazing that people will drive 45 minutes to an hour to come in because sometimes they say you're the only person that's really ever listened to me. Or maybe they go to other agencies across the city and, I believe again that they're doing the best they can, but sometimes they're just overcrowded and they feel like a number. The clients go in and they feel like a number, and, we give each client an hour. And sometimes we have to give them more than that if it's required, especially if it's a crisis. But, we try to really meet each girl where she's at and give her love, basically. Just love on her, regardless of where she is, because we all have stuff in our lives, but some of us are born into better circumstances than others. And our normal becomes what we grew up in. And so to pass judgment on people that are living a different lifestyle when that's all they know isn't right. So we just try to kind of steer them a path that will help them, really just get, better their lives and accelerate.
The volunteers, all the volunteers come from different backgrounds and areas in this world, and so everybody comes to the table with something, and it's amazing how the clients get matched up with the counselors too.
The right ones.
It just there's a fit, there's a connection, and it helps them.
I think that's very important, because there's a lot of people that have gone through things that, maybe they have gotten an abortion or whatever. Young girls. I mean, I was walking through Concord yesterday with Kathy Souza, actually, and there was a woman. She had to be in her 50s, walking along with a little doll in her arm, and it's just like you see the walking wounded everywhere these days, and I don't know what happened to her. I'm not judging her because I don't know.
Right.
But you see people like that. There's just so many people that have been abused, have been beaten, have been, and it's good that there's a place they can go and not get that kind of judgment.
We're a great referral service.
I was just going to say,
we actually have a brochure that we put up with all the different agencies throughout Manchester that we give to each new client. We call it Community Helps, and it gives information on housing, food and clothing, health and medical assistance, legal assistance, employment and education, child care, substance abuse, STDs and HIV, and crisis intervention. And it's a generic leaflet, and we say you might not need it, but you might know someone who does. So we just give them to everybody, because a lot of our clients are in need of a lot of these things, but even when they're not, they may know someone who is.
A lot of times too, when people might come into you, they also might not feel comfortable telling you they need those services, so they're more inclined to actually look into it afterwards.
Usually they tell us. It's
Really?
amazing. Yeah, they're very the key is to get them to know you, like you, and trust you. And because we're really meeting them where they're at, generally they do. It's very rare when they don't. Usually, if they don't, it's because they're being forced to be there, and they don't want to be there. And when that's the case, we're not going to force them to sit in a room and make them talk.
When you say forced to be there, what do you mean, like a parent or?
It might be not necessarily a parent, but maybe they are in state care somehow or through some delinquency program, and maybe they find out they're pregnant, so they kind of force them to see us. But we won't see clients like that. We just say, we can't, if you're forced to be here, that's fine, but we're not going to make you say this, we're not going to make you say anything.
Yeah.
And usually, even in that scenario, they soften, and eventually they'll come back and share their heart and at least participate in some of our programs.
Because we're trustworthy.
Yeah, because they like us and they trust us.
It's safe.
Yeah. How do people volunteer if someone's interested in volunteering?
There's a lot of ways you can volunteer, many of what we've already discussed, but also even if you don't have money to donate or you don't have the clothing, I make scarves and I sell them, and I give a portion or half the money over to, I donate it in my own name, but I donate it. So there's things you can knit, baby blankets, but if you don't know how, you can do other things. There's whatever your talent is, you can find a way to support CareNet.
I think it's important to note that a lot of the things that people do behind the scenes, making baby quilts and baby blankets and dropping off, we have a woman that drops off coupons to give to, she stops by every week, bless your heart, Cindy, and she cuts out hundreds of coupons so that our clients can get deals on diapers and formula and things like that. And it's...
Do you ever get any free ammo?
No.
Hey, wait, we've got a call.
We have a caller. We'll have to make it quick because we're about out of
we're out of time.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What you got? We're almost out of time, so we got to make it quick.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just calling. I'm new to the community, and I am working with some high schools in Massachusetts, putting on assemblies that cover everything from bullying to drugs, gang violence, everything. I just opened a art
All right.
You have a question?
Yeah, no, but that's what I want to do. I want to get involved with the local community and kind of see if I can put those assemblies on to some of the local high schools in the surrounding area. And
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who you would contact for that.
I was trying to help out with the charitable organization that you guys had.
Yeah, it's CareNet. They're over on 50 Bridge Street, right? If you go on Elm Street and then head east on Bridge, it's just on the left past the karate studio. But thank you very much for the call. Hey,
Thanks, Jesse.
That made me wonder. Do you guys go into the high schools and talk to kids, or do the high schools let you guys in to talk about what CareNet is? And
We used to have someone that went into schools pretty regularly. We haven't been in, at least the Manchester and Nashua offices. I can't speak for any of the other CareNets. Our sister center is in Nashua. We haven't been in lately. I'm not saying we're opposed to doing it. If schools contacted us and wanted us to present something, we certainly would be willing to talk to them about it.
yeah. Okay, well, I think we're out of time. So
We do. We
Carolyn,
will go.
thank you, Carolyn and Diane. Thank you very much.
thank you, Gary.
Thank you
for
for all
coming
you
on.
do. Yeah, change, hope and change is really, that's what hope and change should be. So if you see those bottles around town, fill them up, bring them to CareNet, or I'm sure there's instructions on the bottle.
Well, if you want one, you can call us.
Or get involved and go get on do the walkathon in May.
May 4th.
But call CareNet and get involved. That's what community's
Thank
all
you.
about, my friends. Take care.
CareNetNH.org is the website.
Oh, next week we got the Second Amendment sisters. So we're
interesting.
going to be
Okay.
surrounded by women for at least this week and next week. So
Don't hear me complaining.
no, we'll see ya.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.